Hi everyone, welcome back. So I hope you guys had a great, what's the Tuesday. So what do we have happen today? Well, Bitcoin went down, miners went down, kind of recovered a little bit. So we had some in the green, some in the red. Wasn't that bad of a day, but basically more tariff fears came out today. That's kind of what happened with the market. Market kind of overreacted again on it. I think we're still going to be fine here, but we'll take a look at it, obviously. And also Bitcoin got down to the 50 SMA as well. We'll take a look at what that means for us. Will we go down? Will we go up? We'll take a look. What else do we have here? We got a bunch of stories from the miners. We have Cango reporting their July updates along with CleanSpark, Cipher, and Riot. And we also have some news from Bitfarms as well. We'll take a look at that. And then we also have some bullish news on Bitcoin as well. So we'll get through all that, and then we'll get into Q&A as always, and we'll call it a day. But as always, you guys know the drill. Non-financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research as always. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin right now. Like I said early on here, Bitcoin did come back and test the 50 SMA here. It bounced off of it quite nicely. We've had this happen before as well, many times before. And just recently here we had it basically in June, right? We tested it once, twice. We went up kind of similar to what we did here. And then we actually came down in a couple of days and tested it again. Went kind of flat for a couple of days, tested it again, and then we actually went below it here. So is it going to play out the same way? There's a possibility there, right? There is always that chance that it could do the same thing again. If that does happen, I think we might be getting close at that point. If we do go up a little bit more or go sideways, test it again and fall below it, I think our next support would be at the 100 simple moving day average, which would be about 108,000 roughly. That would be the line of support there, I think. We do have some support right around here as well, which is right around 109,000, I think. So somewhere between 109 and 108,000. We could see a wick down there, and then we possibly could go forward. Or the other option is we continue to go up here from where we are right now. Right, with all the adoption, everybody buying in and so on, there is a chance that we could just do that here going forward. We've had a pretty long time of accumulation here. Once we reached 123,000, this was back in July 14th. So we're almost on pretty much 3 weeks of just going sideways and actually going down a little bit here. Some correction happening there. And we might go well back up. So there's the two scenarios. We either go down, test 109, 108,000, or we continue going up. Which is going to come first? Well, we don't know. We'll have to wait and find out, unfortunately, until that point happens. Markets were also mixed today here as well, right? We're actually down a little bit. Well, the Russell 2000 was actually up here, surprisingly. Dow Jones was down, NASDAQ was down, S&P was also down. Ethereum today was down as well. So it's down again a little bit right now. Bitcoin, like we said, was down. It wasn't down too bad. It was down 0.82%. It's down a little bit, 0.25% right now, roughly, or so. So we'll see where we end up at later on this week. Miners, on the other hand, I mean, at one point they were all red during the day, and then they kind of bounced back up here, which was nice to see that they actually had some strength going into it as Bitcoin price was going back up. So that was kind of nice to see there. Bitfarms was up 2.5%, even after being down much lower, right? A lot of these guys were down like 5, 6, 7% at one point, and then they bounced back up. Bitdeer was down just a little bit, 1.85%. Cango was down, up 0.64% after being down as well. Cipher was down 3.47%. That one kind of bounced off close to the 50 SMA there. CleanSpark was up 1.98% after touching the 200 SMA there, and it actually went above and closed above the 50 SMA there. CORZ was up 3.15%, so that one's doing pretty good. Hive was up a little bit, I guess, mostly flat, but it was down quite a bit and then bounced back up. Hut 8 was down 4.34%. IREN was down 0.18%. Mara was down 2.6%. Riot was down 2.5%. Wolf was just up a little bit, 3.48%. And then the Bitcoin Treasury Companies MicroStrategy was down 3.54%. This thing is still between the 50 SMA and the 100 SMA, bouncing right around here. Surprised that this one isn't doing better than what it has been doing. I mean, it got too high of 457 and it's come back down here over the last 2-3 weeks or so. Not sure what's going on in that, even though they've been buying more Bitcoin. Galaxy was up just a little bit, 2.89%. So then we had Block being down 1.09%, Coin being down another 6.34%. There was a news story on them getting, what was it, $2 billion in convertible notes, I think. To do what? I'm guessing they're going to probably buy Bitcoin there. I'm guessing. We'll see. Metaplanet was down just a little bit, 0.22 looks like. Exodus was down 2.2%. Then we have Nexon was up just a little bit. Semler was down 1.4. What else? Phoenix was down 3.5. GameStop was up 0.8. Small miners were down for the most part, except for Digihost, DigiPower. Sorry, up 3%. Mawson was up 1.6. Everybody else was either down or flat. The minor ETFs were down for the most part, except for WGMI being up just a little bit here, 0.08. And then the Ethereum treasury companies were actually up today here, with Ethereum being down, which is kind of surprising there as well. But Digital was up 0.96%, BTCS was up 0.73%, BMNR was up 6.97%, Game was up just a little bit, 0.59%, and SBET was up 5.69%. And then Bitcoin dominance here on the day actually improved, and it is improving here even more. So are we having a little rotation happening here out of the altcoins into Bitcoin? Maybe, maybe not. So we shall see. Okay, as far as the miners here in the after hours right now, BitDeer is down 1.81%. Bitfarms is actually up a little bit, 0.81%. Cango is up a little bit as well, 0.42%. Cipher is up 0.8%. CleanSpark is down a little bit now, 0.46% it looks like. CORZ Scientific is down 2.13%, sorry. Hive is down 0.97 there, looks like. And Hut 8 is actually now up in the green, 1.04%. IREN, see where that one comes in at. That one's actually down 1.58%. Mara is down let's see where that one goes, 0.13, so just a little bit. And then we got here Riot being down flat, nothing on that one. And TeraWolf is, let's see where that one ends up at, negative 2.96%. Bitcoin for the month of August is still down 1.53%. We're still early. We're only 5 days into the month. We'll see where we end up here later on in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We'll see where we end up at. I still believe we're going to be in the green here. I think it's just going to be choppy in the beginning. And then once we get our kind of footing, and we might be going up higher there as well. Bitcoin ETF inflows, well, we had outflows actually. Yesterday we had quite a bit of outflows, 323 million. On August 1st, which was Friday, we had a lot, 812 million outflows. And then when we had IBIT, BlackRock selling 292 million there yesterday. We're in a negative so far for today as well. But we'll see where IBIT comes in again, right? Were they negative or were they positive here? I'm guessing they were probably negative as well. So we've had a number of days here of negative outflows for Bitcoin ETFs here. We've had 4 days so far, it looks like. We'll see where tomorrow comes in at as well. So we do have some good news stories here on Bitcoin itself. If we look at that right now, we can see here that 12 trillion BlackRock says central banks are now eyeing Bitcoin. We've known this for a while, but, well, not really for a while. But central banks is different from regular banks. We've seen regular banks getting into it, but central banks eyeing Bitcoin, that's pretty nice to see. And if they start putting it on their treasuries or something like that, that'd be nice. Next here, Exodus Movement adds another 49 Bitcoin and now holds 2,087 BTC in total. So there they are. They're at number 25 spot as it is right now. We have a lot of we have a lot of companies now in this space. I think there's over like 100 some odd companies that have Bitcoin on their treasury already as it is, and that list is just continuing to grow here. We have this also, public company Robin Energy buys their first 3 million worth of Bitcoin. Another company that's going to be be added to the list there as well. So that's awesome. And then we have Indonesia's vice president office considers adopting Bitcoin as a national reserve asset. Bitcoin game theory is playing out. Right, we keep saying we're having this kind of small snowball, slowly turning into a big snowball, and that's what we want to see. We want to see that adoption happen here. We want to see all this happening as well. So I love seeing that. And then let's get into the miners here as far as some news on them. So let's take a look at those, what we have as far as news and updates from them. Bitfarms has a pretty interesting story here. Bitfarms announces partnership with T5 data centers to advance HPCI developments at Panther Creek here. So today they announced its partnership with T5 data centers to advance HPCI development at its Panther Creek campus in Pennsylvania. Let's see, T5 Data Centers is an established leader in data center design, construction, and operations, providing a full range of data center services from development and construction to facility management and operations. They offer customizable, scalable solutions for both enterprise and hyperscaler clients, ensuring reliable high-performance computing environments. So this is kind of nice. This might help them get a deal at their Panther Creek location there. This strategic engagement will focus on comprehensive pre-construction design planning and development approvals to processes to advance this significant digital infrastructure investment, leveraging deep expertise in providing construction services and ground-up development. T5 will provide critical guidance and coordination throughout the planning phase. The goal is to ensure that the state-of-the-art facility is purpose-built to meet the demands of high-performance computing and artificial intelligence applications, while supporting Pennsylvania's emergence as a hub for next-generation data centers development. So that's awesome to see. And then here's a quote from Ben Gagnon, the CEO there. We are thrilled to announce our partnership with T5 Data Centers. With the 7 major U.S. hyperscalers as their customers. Okay, so that's interesting that they have those. T5 brings unparalleled industry expertise and is a proven leader in data center construction development and operations. This collaboration validates the significant HPC opportunity at our flagship Panther Creek campus in Pennsylvania, where strong political tailwinds, following the recent White House commitment to $90 billion of AI investment, intersect our 1 gigawatt pipeline in Pennsylvania. So that's nice. Positioning Bitfarms at the forefront of the rapidly growing AI infrastructure market in the state. And if they can capitalize on that, I think that's going to be huge. Right? We are excited to leverage T5's expertise capital to capitalize our opportunity, driving development and delivering a long-term value for shareholders. So that's awesome to hear. Well, I mean, we'll see. It's early stages. If we do have anything on this, it'll probably not be until, I'm guessing, sometime next year, maybe. We'll see. But this is awesome to hear, right? So they're going in that process. They're moving forward with it, and it's good to see. So that's Bitfarms there. Let's get into Cango here on their production update for July. We have 4 of these guys today, so we're going to try and run through these numbers relatively quickly here. But here's what we have. So number of Bitcoin mines for Cango was 650.5. They did get to 50 exahash, obviously, at the end of June. So they had a full month running at 50 exahash, which was nice to see. See, total number of Bitcoins held now is 4,529. You could say 4,530 roughly. And then average operating hash rate was around 40.91. They were probably curtailing there as well, for a little bit at least during that time frame. But nice growth here on Bitcoin production. As you know, Cango is asset light. They don't own any data centers themselves. It's all basically hosted with third parties. They only own the ASICs there that they bought from Bitmain. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them, and we'll get into the next ones here. So if we look at Cango here, Cango has about 177 million shares outstanding. I'm guessing here we'll find out the true number once they report their quarterly results. Market cap is about 838 million as it is right now. Performance over the last 12 weeks has not been great. So we're seeing a little bit of a change in that from probably like 3-4 weeks ago, where we saw more green on these guys here. Current hash rate 50 exahash, future hash rate 50 exahash. They're fully stacked as it is right now. No future planned growth, at least right now. And then we have Bitcoin HODL of 4,530. That's valued by 515 million. That's 61% of their market cap as it is right now. Nice growth in Bitcoin production here, right? They were at 450 in June, July 650. So that's nice, 200 more for the month. So that's great. Revenue also increased nicely to 75 million for them. It looks like here, depending on what the cost is on it, right? With them being hosted, I'm sure it's going to be a higher cost than other miners that actually have their own infrastructure. But still really good revenue. And as long as they keep it pretty light as far as overhead for SG&A, right? They're all asset light, so they should only have maybe 5 to 10 people there working, possibly. I don't know how many people they have working for them. But they also, I don't know if they still have that car import-export business or not. I know they were trying to get rid of that. We'll find out in the quarterly results. Bitcoin HODL has been increasing as well, 4,530 there. So they are going to be diluting one way or another, whether it's going to be convertible notes or just shares. They're going to be doing that. Hash rate, right, 50 exahash from 31, almost 32. About 18.2 exahash being installed. Well, not really installed, be just taking ownership of it. Bitcoin sold, doesn't look like they sold anything there, obviously. BTC per exahash efficiency, pretty efficient. 13 is pretty good, actually, for this number. Going down here to institutions and analyst ratings. Institutions stayed the same at 51. Shares did increase a little bit here to 30.69 million. It's now 21.9% owned by institutions. We do have an analyst rating, though, this time around. We have one buy rating for them and actually a price target as well. $7.99 across the board for the high, average, and low, as it is right now. And for the miners here, I mean, I installed what I think they got, and those things were operating for about 25 and a half days roughly, and that got us to the 75 million and change but was based on the average Bitcoin price here in July. So based on those numbers, if we look at that, multiply it times 12 here, right, we get the number, and I'm in between 1270 to 1906. I do have them at a lower PE, but it also depends on where their share count is going to come in at, right, after they use shares to buy the rest of the 18 exahash from Bitmain. I think that's probably going to increase here, but I do have them pretty low on the PE side of things at 5 because they don't own any infrastructure. So based on that, they're still pretty undervalued as it is right now. At least it appears to me that way. Like I said, we'll get some more data on this when they report their quarterly results. That might tell a different story, but right now, this looks like it is undervalued by quite a bit, actually. They could possibly get at least like a 3x from where they are right now, being at 473 as it is. So, yeah, I think they should be a higher price at this point. But again, number of shares is going to dictate what the price is going to be more or less. So if they increase the number of shares quite a bit, then it's going to probably bring down the price a little bit here, but they still should show us that they're undervalued. The other thing is that these guys are Chinese-based, so, right, do your due diligence before you're investing in those guys, as always. I'm always a little skeptical of Chinese companies and what numbers are they actually providing that are accurate. All right, so that's it for Cango. Right, no further growth that we know of. So the only thing they can do is improve their operational uptime as best they can. Right, they're operating for about 25 days roughly or so. And if they can provide some kind of growth going forward, and if they can also mention anything about actually buying some data centers for their fleet to reduce their cost here. So we'll see what their costs really come in at once they report. All right, that's it. Let's go on to the next one here, which is going to be on Cipher here. So Cipher also provided us with their July production update. And here's what we got here. So BTC mined was 214, Bitcoin sold was 52, Bitcoin held was 1,219, and month-end operating hash rate was 20.4, so they did increase that as well. So that's great to hear there. And we do have some management commentary from them as well. Black Pearl Phase 1 began contributing meaningfully to production this month, accounting for approximately 24% of Cipher's total Bitcoin mined in July. The company expects Black Pearl's contribution to increase in the coming months as Phase 1 continues to scale. Looking ahead, Cipher's earnings call is scheduled for Thursday, August 7th at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, at which point the company will share a business update. Okay, what kind of update will that be? Well, we'll find out. That's going to be interesting to see there. And that's what we got here. Here's I believe this is Black Pearl Phase 1 portion of it. Nice facility. Can't argue there. Looks really good. So it's hashing away, which is nice, and they're going to be growing that as well as they get into Phase 2 as well. Looking at the numbers for them, let's see here how Cipher stacks up to all this stuff here. Cipher currently has about 371 million shares, stock price of $5.01, market cap 1.8 billion. We can see here that their performance over the last 12 weeks is kind of mixed, but more or less, I mean, they're still up quite nicely from 12 weeks ago, up 65%. From 8 weeks ago, they're up 26%, and then from 4 weeks, they're down 16%, and 1 week, they're down 23%. A lot of the miners are that way as well. Current hash rate, 18.79. This is just for their self-mining. They also have a joint venture that they're a part of, which is accounted in the 20 exahash there. Future hash rate, I'm actually 15. I need to update this probably based on what we know now. I know they're trying to get to like 23 exahash, I think. 23 or 28, I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But nonetheless, Bitcoin HODL here, that probably should be updated. No, that is for July. 1,219, is that correct? 1,219. Okay, for some reason I thought it was a little higher. But that's valued at 138 million here, almost 139. That's only 7.46% of their HODL to market cap ratio, right? So it seems like they're being valued more so on their potential for HPC AI than the HODL that they have here, or maybe even their operations right now. But nonetheless, we were seeing some pretty good growth here. 195.7 Bitcoin mined for self-mining there. Revenue, 22.62 million. That's good. Nice improvement there from June. Love seeing that. And Bitcoin HODL is starting to grow back for them as well. Ever since bottomed out here in April of this year at 855, it has come back up to 1,219. Hash rate difference, nice that we're seeing some growth here in June, July, right, with Black Pearl coming online here. This is great to see. BTC per exahash efficiency, kind of low, 11.4 on the lower side here. So they definitely curtail, looks like a lot more here potentially. What else here? Bitcoin sold, they sold 58. That's valued about 6.69 million there. And going down here into institution side of things, that did increase a little bit. 304 institutions now. Shares decreased though to 262 million, and the percentage owned also decreased a little bit here to 78.82 million. We still have the 7 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 2 hold ratings. So now we have 2 hold ratings there. Underperform is 0, sell is 0, and what do we got here? For the price targets for the analysts, it's $9 for the high, $7.36. That's an increase from what we had the prior month, and the low stayed the same at $6 for them. And then based on the machines being installed here in July and hashing, I have the ones that got installed running at about 20 days roughly on average, and then the other machines were running at about 22 days. So definitely quite a bit of curtailment there on average to get to the numbers that I needed to get to for the amount of Bitcoin that they mined. So based on that, if we look at the numbers here for July times 12 months, right, I'm between 548 and 823. They're pretty well valued. They're close. They're at $5.01, so they're slightly undervalued, just minimally undervalued. They should be valued probably somewhere between 5 and 8 with a P of 15 if you look forward to the revenues going forward on it. So I think they are catching a little bit of a higher premium because of the HPCI potential there, as it is. Because when we look at other miners, like we looked at Cango here just recently, and then we look at CleanSpark here next, you'll see the disparity there a little bit more. Big thing for them is continue to build out the Black Pearl site, see if they can get the operational uptime higher. That would be great. That would generate obviously more revenue, and that's basically for everybody. Get the operational uptime up as much as you can. Other than that, we'll have to wait and see what they report on their quarterly results, which is coming up Thursday, so in 2 days. We'll see what kind of news they have there as well, and then any updates on like HPCI deals or anything like that. At that point, okay? So that's it on Cipher. Let's get into CleanSpark here really quick as well. Let's see, where's CleanSpark? There they are. All right, so CleanSpark releases July 2025 Bitcoin mining update here. And we have a quote from their CEO, Zach Bradford. July was a strong month for both Bitcoin and CleanSpark. With Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs above 120,000, our disciplined accumulation strategy was validated as our treasury grew to over 12,700 self-Bitcoin mined. And importantly, we continue to self-fund our operations through strategic Bitcoin sales, enabling ongoing accumulation while avoiding any use of equity financing or shareholder dilution. This is the best thing about them this year. There's no dilution, right? They evidently have gotten to scale here. They're also reporting, I believe, on the 7th as well, but in the afternoon, their quarterly results. So we'll discuss it at that point on them as well. At the same time, CleanSpark's total contracted power surpassed 1 gigawatt, a significant achievement that reflects the scalability of our infrastructure-first approach. So that's great. While a heat wave in Southeast led to periodic load reductions in response to heightened grid demand across several regions, our flexible power agreements and geographically a diversified footprint proved their strategic value there. Okay, so they did curtail quite a bit as well this month. CleanSpark will discuss its fiscal third quarter financial results via live webcast beginning at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, August 7th. So we got 2 on Thursday there. And here's what we have for their operations. Bitcoin produced was 671. Peak daily was 23.98. Average daily was 21.65. Operational hash rate was 50 exahash. Average operational hash rate was 41.9, so about 42 exahash. That's definitely a sizable portion of it not operating. And the average efficiency of deployed fleet was 16.07 joules per terahash. Total Bitcoin holdings as of July 31st was 12,703. Bitcoin sold 575 and 90.97 there. So there's the numbers for them. Let's take a look at their stuff right now as it is, see if they're undervalued or overvalued as it is. And right now, CleanSpark has about 280 million shares outstanding, stock price 1083, market cap 3 billion. Performance similar to some other companies here, right? The last 12 weeks were pretty good, 13.5%. 8 weeks ago, 6.6. And then the last 4 weeks and 1 week, they were down 17.5 and 1168. Current hash rate, 50 exahash. Future hash rate, we know that right now what they bought is for 57. They're saying that they're going to get to 60 plus. How much of a plus is that going to be? We don't know. So they still have some growth there happening later on this year. Bitcoin hodl, 12,703. That's valued at 1.4 billion roughly. That's 47% of their market cap right now. So they're being valued half and half. Half on their hodl, half on their operations as well, which is kind of what we would probably want to see here a little bit on that. And then each share is about $5.15. Production of Bitcoin here has been coming down since their best month was actually in March, 706 Bitcoin. Came down to 633 in April, 694 in May. So that was a nice increase there. June came down to 685 and July 671. a lot of curtailment happening there for them as well. But we're seeing that across the board, actually. Monthly revenue, 77.4 million. That's the best revenue they've had here. It was nice that Bitcoin actually went up. So a lot of the companies are benefiting from that as well, even though the production's down a little bit. They actually generated more revenue. Bitcoin HODL here continues to increase, right? For them, that's been great. Hash rate growth here, no growth here in July. They've been, they got to 50 exahash in June, and then they are obviously working and building out for the remainder that they got installed there by the end of the year. Bitcoin sold here. They've been selling obviously a lot more here since April, but on average they've been selling here around, looks like 570 Bitcoin or so in the last 2 months or so. 576 sold this past month. BTC per exahash efficiency 13.4, pretty good actually for them. And Bitcoin sold value was about 66 million there. Going down here to institutions and analyst ratings. Institutions did increase a little bit here to 466. Shares actually decreased to 183.3 million. And percentage owned went down a little bit here to 66.27 million. We now have one more strong buy rating to 7 now. We still have 4 buy ratings, 1 hold, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price target for the high stayed the same at $25. Average went up to $19.80 and the low actually went up to $15. So that's at least nice to see that that is growing there. Going down here, operationally wise, for July, it looks like they were operating for about 26.28 days out of the month here. On average, more or less. So that's still better than some of them. But I would have liked to see it be better, right? But if you got a heat wave, you got a heat wave, right? You need to divert power to other systems, basically. Schools, well, not schools, schools out. But hospitals, homes, elderly care, all that stuff, you got to divert power there. So I'm okay with it. It's normal that we see this in the summer months for quite a few of these miners here. All right, going at the numbers here for July times 12 months. Revenue-wise, that would get us to about 928 million in revenue, almost $1 billion there, run rate, and that gets us to about $24.79 to $37.19. They're at $10.83. Yeah, I think they're undervalued, just like a lot of these guys here right now are as is. What's it going to take for them to get properly valued? Bitcoin going up higher, I think, for a sustained amount of time instead of going up for a couple of weeks and then going flat or down for a number of months, right? So we'll see. We'll see how this is going to play out. We still have a little bit of time left in this year, about 5 months before it's all said and done, and we'll see if it was worth it to invest in these guys or any miner in general, except for maybe IREN. IREN has been outperforming here, everybody, recently at least, and from the bottom as well. So we'll see. What can I see for them? Continue to execute, continue to grow, improve the hash rate, uptime as well, and that's it. We'll take a look at their numbers when they come out for Q3 for them, which is our Q2 on Thursday. We'll discuss it, we'll digest it, we'll see what's going on there, we'll see how they came out at that point. All right, so that's it for CleanSpark. Last one that we have here is going to be on Riot. Riot, I'm seeing similar things to what we saw last year as well, and I'll talk about what that is. But here's Bitcoin production for them was 484, a nice increase from 450 here. Bitcoin held increased to, just a little bit, increased to 19,287. They sold 475 Bitcoin there. Deployed hash rate total was 35.5, so the same that they had last month as well. Power credits here. So we saw the same thing last year. I think it was in August, though. They had, I think last August, they had like 30-some million, if I'm not mistaken there, if I'm going back with my memory. But they had 12.6 million power credits. That's huge. Demand response credits was 1.3 million, down a little bit from the prior month, but still the power credits definitely make that up. So their all-in power cost total came in to be about 2.8 cents per kilowatt hour. That's fantastic there, right? Nice low-cost power. And if only they kept their payroll in check as low as that, that'd be great. So let's see here. Historically, the summer months are more challenging for hash rate utilization as we participate in ERCOT's 4 coincident peak program, 4CP, voluntarily curtail as part of the demand response programs and operate in harsher conditions, right? Heat. I mean, they're in Texas. It's going to be hot. So that is understandable. They got a lot of credits for it, so that's great there. And what else do we have here? That's basically it for them. They go into talking about here about the data center platform in July, closing on an additional 238 acres, located in proximity to our operations in Corsicana. Collectively, Riot now owns 858 acres in Corsicana, giving us the flexibility to accommodate various data center designs and development plans, which we are aggressively pursuing in order to best position best be positioned to fully utilize the 1 gigawatt of power available at the Corsicana facility. Okay, so we'll see. We got a lot of these guys trying to get some HPCI deals. Will they get them? I sure hope they do, along with other companies as well, but we'll see. Right now, it seems like the hyperscalers are going in their own direction as it is. So maybe in time, they will maybe knock on the door of these guys, and we'll see. All right, looking at Riot here really quick as well. Riot has about 369 million shares outstanding. Market cap $4 billion roughly. Performance over the last 12 weeks comparable to what we saw with Cipher and with CleanSpark as well, right? Last 12 weeks, they're up nicely 30% here. 8 weeks ago, up 12%. And then from 4 weeks ago, they're down 11%. And then last week, they were down 24%. A lot of miners got beat up last week. Current hash rate, 35. Their future hash rate is going to be going up to 45 exahash by the end of Q1 of 2026, I believe. So we'll get that updated as well on them eventually once we find out what miners are buying. Bitcoin HODL, 19,287. That's valued about $2.2 billion roughly. That's 53.39% of their market cap there. Kind of more in line with what we see with CleanSpark, right? They're being valued not only on their HODL, but also on their operations here a little bit. And maybe potential for HPCI as well, at least for them. Bitcoin production here increased from obviously from June, so that was nice. It's still not the best that they've done here. Their best was in March, 533 Bitcoin at that point, and they've been kind of on a roller coaster ride here recently. Revenue-wise, though, best revenue that they had here in the last 12 months, I would say probably ever, right? 55.83 million in revenue here, so that's great. Bitcoin HODL had a huge spike here, obviously, in December of last year where they bought Bitcoin, and then they've been increasing that as well throughout the period here. Looks like they sold. At some point, they sold a little bit more than they actually mined here. You can see that from March and April, it looks like they sold a little bit more on it. Nonetheless, hash rate is the same as it was in June. They sold 470 Bitcoin here this time around, valued at 54 million. BTC per exahash efficiency, pretty good, 13.63. That's actually pretty good for them, actually. Getting that up is nice. Going down here to institutions. Institutions did decrease a little bit to 533, so we down 4. Shares actually increased, 219.64 million. Percentage owned by institutions went up a little bit as well, 60.24. And we now have 1 increase in the strong buy rating category from analysts. So that's 10. We have 2 less in the buy rating, so that's down to 4. We do have 2 hold now, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. And price target actually went up to 25, so there's a nice increase there. Average went up to 17.67, and the low stayed the same at $11 for them as it is. Going down here for July, had them operating approximately 26.7 days out of the month here. So really good, actually, for them. That's a nice improvement from what we've seen in the past as well. So like seeing that, that's good as well, especially during a really hot month like July that we've had here. And based on that revenue in July, multiplying times 12 months, we have them at a run rate right now at about 670 million roughly. That gets us to about 1359 to 2039, somewhere in between there, right? Is where they probably should be valued, more or less. They're being valued at $11.13. So they're slightly undervalued as it is right now. I would think somewhere around like $15, $16, even $17, I think would be fair value for them right now. And as they actually, Bitcoin processing goes up in value, they start generating more revenue, they can definitely go up even higher from that as well. Plus, if they get an HPCI deal, that looks even better at that point. So that's kind of where I see things. I like what I'm seeing here as far as operations. I've talked about this ad nauseum probably last week about the payroll, share-based compensation, right? Not a big fan of that. You guys know it. So I'll just leave it there. But hopefully that gets fixed next year sometime. And yeah, hopefully they can get to scale or something like that, or get an HPCI deal. But nonetheless, operations definitely improved, so that's nice to see there. And they do have a definitely large HODL position as well. So I'm not too worried about them going forward. It's just they got to get the costs under control. Keep those damn things as low as possible as they can. All right, and that goes for everybody. I mean, all the miners should be, they should be living on a bread and butter budget instead of a steak and wine budget, to be honest, until they can prove that they are actually able to sustain profitability for a longer period of time. But that's just my thoughts. That's just me. All right, that's it. As always, these spreadsheets will be updated for the Patreon members tomorrow. Link for that is down in the description if you want to join. A couple bucks a month, it's $4 or $5. You might be able to find a couple spots there at that. We have a great Discord community there as well. It's private to us. And what else do we have here? That's it. yeah, I'll leave it at that. So thank you to all the Patreon members as always. Thank you to the YouTube members as well for their support. So greatly appreciate you guys. You guys allow me to do this stuff. Otherwise, my wife would be yelling at me for spending so much time and not making any dime on it. Okay, but at least I'm not spending money on it, right? That's always good. So like a hobby, some people have hobbies where they spend a lot of money. That can be even worse. This is a hobby that I actually enjoy, and maybe I make some money on stocks as well. All right, let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say. As always, if you preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And I'm going to scroll my way up and work my way down, see if there's any questions that we have from the time we started here. Sean says, sold all my CleanSpark, now have 100,000 shares of Bitfarms and 13,000 shares of IREN. What say you, Sebastian? Pretty good, right? I think Bitfarms is way undervalued. We'll see if they get valued properly, right? If they get an HPCI deal, that's going to be awesome. So I still own Bitfarms too. And then 13,000 shares, you definitely got me beat on that one. So I'm a big fan of IREN as well. So I hope it works out for you, really. And if it works out for you, it's going to work out for me too. So, yeah. Do you like IREN versus CleanSpark? I like both. I love both of them. So I can just say that, to be honest. IREN is great at operations, low cost of mining. CleanSpark is also great at that. They have a little bit higher cost than IREN for electricity when it comes to other operations, but still really good. They've grown tremendously here. Nice HODL position as well. IREN has that HPCI potential. They could also become their own hyperscaler if they wanted to, but it's going to be costly if they go that route. But there's just a lot of optionality with both of these guys here, I think. Bitcoin going up is going to be beneficial to both of them, maybe more so to CleanSpark, but if IREN gets an HPCI deal, it might be more beneficial to them. So I own them both, right? Either way, it's a good win. Let's see. Brian says, hey, Seb, at a Toto concert, go Bitcoin. All right, that's awesome. Well, I hope you're having a great time there. Let's see. Third, BTCS has the lowest NAV in the game. It screams by, not financial advice. It has the lowest NAV, yeah. I need to look some more into it, see what the heck's going on with that company. Are they doing other things in there that's bringing that NAV down or what? Need to look at it. Thomas asks, do you think Wolf could reach $10 before the cycle ends? If not, what is the top you think it could get to? Wolf? Well, let's take a look at Wolf here really quick on them. The hard part with Wolf is we don't know what's going on with their Bitcoin mining side of business anymore unless we get an update from them for maybe quarterly results or something like that. Their HPCI business that they have with Core 42, I mean, we know what they're getting for that. Now the big question is, can they land another contract with somebody else potentially, right? That's the other big question. So if they land a contract with somebody else for a nice substantial amount, then they could possibly go up to $10. Bitcoin also going up. We need to see some updates from them as far as Bitcoin, right? Where are they at? What's their operational uptime? How much Bitcoin have they mined based on what they have? Things like that. We need to look at some of that metrics, which always helped when they were reporting monthly, but they're not anymore. So it's kind of tough. Let's see here, in the last year, I mean, they got pretty close to $10, right? They got to $9.30. This was right around the time when they were talking about getting the deal with Core 42, right? The stock did very good, but definitely got pounced here. After that, we had the China EI DeepSeek, right? Scare a lot of people. That crashed things down. And we had the tariffs that crashed things down even more. So they're starting to kind of bounce from that a little bit, but also are the miners as well. But I think we'll see what the results are for the quarterly results. We'll see where they come in at. Could they get a bounce from that? Maybe. Right? Do we get an update on Core 42? Where are they with that? How much revenue are they generating from that as well? That might help out also. Yeah, so we'll see. It looks like they're going to be reporting. When are they reporting? They're reporting Friday. The estimate is going to be down basically 5 cents per EPS, and the revenue is going to be at 47.28. So we'll see if they can beat it. If they can beat both, then the stock might go up a little bit here. But yeah, I think it's going to be dependent on Core 42 deal, and can get another deal beyond that as well. All right, let's go back here. John Kurtz asks question, can you look at Cipher quick and mention the progress they've achieved in the last year? They have a lot of going with a great future. I'm not selling. Yeah, I mean, I talked about them last year, if you recall. If you were here last year, I talked about Cipher having more growth here in the second half of this year than they did up to that point, right? So if we go back here, where do I want to go? I want to go here. You can see the growth here that they've had here recently. and just in hash rate, right? Total hash rate, they were at 8 in July of last year, so they basically doubled that already as it is. They grew to 13.5, more or less, by the end of December there, and they were flat for a number of months while they were building out Black Pearl. Black Pearl has been built up, and that's kind of what we talked about, them having more growth here in the second half of this year and also possibly into next year as well. But they've paused some of that expansion in Bitcoin mining, I think, because of the HPCI potential there. It's kind of like Riot is paused, IREN has paused as well, right? Their growth, they're all trying to save some megawatts for potential deals, and we'll see if they do that. But nonetheless, they're still getting to what, 23, 28 exahash by the end of the year, I think it is. I think they're going to be, I think it's 23 exahash. Correct me if I'm wrong, because for some reason I'm thinking they're going to be just a little bit less than Hive, which Hive is getting 25 exahash. So I think it's 23. I may have to run that again. But I think that's kind of where it's at. So yeah, they've had great growth here, a little bit more growth here happening later on this year as well. I love seeing that. And we'll wait to see. They also have really good cost as well when it comes to Bitcoin production, right? Their cost to mine one Bitcoin minus depreciated in Q1 was 28,000, which was really, really low as well. Definitely in the top 3 when it comes to that right now. So yeah, I think Cipher is a good one as well. All right, back here. Okay, Gary's got a question here. Bitfarms not having the expertise to build their own data centers is going to cut into profits. We'll see different approaches as only Cipher and IREN have any data center building expertise of the miners. I don't know if I agree with you there 100%. Yes, there's going to be some extra costs, right, because you're getting a consultant or a firm to help you build out, right? So there's going to be some costs there. But I think they're being, and I could be wrong on this, but remember when they got the $300 million loan? Who is that from? Oh, gosh. It wasn't Coach, it was somebody else. I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but you guys probably remember it. Last year, they gave him $50 million to start on the process for HPCI potential in Pennsylvania. And I think that this might be part of it, where whoever gave him the loan said, hey, you got to get in with one of these guys that actually knows what they're doing, which might be a good thing in the long run, because if what's the company name that I'm drawing out? DT5 or D5? What the heck is the name there? T5. T5, if they have connections with the hyperscalers, and it says that they have, 7 of the hyperscalers there that they already work with, that might be, a good, it's a lot of times it's like who you know in anything in life. It's who you know, and that's how you kind of make your money sometimes, right? It's not how much money you have, it's just who you know, more or less, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't know the right people, you can't get crap done anyways. So it's more of who you know. So that might work out actually well for them. We'll see, right? Cipher and IREN obviously have been building out these kind of data centers that would support also the chip to cooling technology as well. IREN is actually building out a Horizon 1 site that's 50 or 75 megawatts now? Can't remember. But they're building that out, so that should be a proof of concept, I guess, there as well. If they can do that properly, and they can actually show it off, right, to potential suitors there. All right, next here, Sarmelon. Do you think we'll be able to keep miner and BTC momentum trough through 2026? If it plays out to be an extended cycle like I think it might be, maybe. But it depends where Bitcoin goes. So there's some possibility that Bitcoin could go to 150,000 and then correct 20-30%, which at that point the miners again might go down 60%, like we just had this past year. And then we go up to 200,000 and possibly correct at that point another 20-30%, right? Again, miners would probably come down at that. So we need to see how the miners will react to it at that point. Where do they go to when Bitcoin gets to 150,000? And then do they correct as much as double of what Bitcoin corrects? We'll have to see. DFly asks, why not buy CleanSpark at these levels? Seems the most undervalued. It's one of the most undervalued. Personally, I think Bitfarms is way undervalued still, probably even more than CleanSpark is. But the big thing with them is, now it's not, I would say, it's more of a moot point now because they're more in the United States than they have ever been. So I think that exposure to the United States will help them out, but it's just can they get the love, and then can they also get Riot off their back completely, selling out the shares there. We haven't seen an update from Riot in a while here. We'll see where they come in at. DFly says, BMNR now this has potential to 5x relatively soon. How do you figure we go 5x? Right? Are you thinking that Ethereum is going to go to what, 20,000 within a couple months? I don't see that happening. I mean, yeah, I just don't see that happening right now. Thomas says 69 watching. Smash the like button, people. Yep, smash it. I only got 30 likes. I should do it where you hit a like and I do your question. Andrew says, thanks, Sebastian. Keep up the great work. Will do. Thank you so much for coming in. DeFi, are you buying CleanSpark prior to earnings if you think it will be positive? I have a bunch of CleanSpark as it is right now. I'm kind of on the sidelines right now. I got to pay property taxes in my house here this month. And we're going on vacation to Nashville later on this week. So that's taking a big hit in my pocketbook as it is. Happy wife, happy life. You guys know the story. So I'm on the sidelines right now as it is. But otherwise, I'd be probably buying here because I think there's still at least a 2x potential for CleanSpark here, right? The bare minimum. So I think it still would be a good get. Andrew says, holding CleanSpark, IREN, Bitfarms, and Cipher and SBT, sold Riot and Mara due to greedy management. Okay. Well, those are great companies that you got there now, though. All right, Victor C. Question. Recently, Bitcoin companies are selling their BTC. If that indicate the top? No, that doesn't indicate the top. The miners were selling last time as well. Not all of them are selling. Some of them have been selling, and some of them have sold last year as well that are now holding right now. So it changes. I don't think that signifies the top there at all. Again, we're only getting 450 Bitcoin a day out of the miners. And then they're selling, at least the ones that I cover right now are probably selling, I would say, 70% of that to like 80%. I have to run the numbers on it to see what that would actually come in at. How much the miners sold that I covered, how much did they actually generated. I think it's like 70-80%, something like that. All right. Sarah Mellon Victor, how else do you expect them to pay for operations? Right. Well, they could use the ATM, they could use convertible notes, but I definitely like it when they do sell a portion of it at least. All right. Chris says bear market starts mid-October. Good luck if you're holding. Okay, we shall see. Sarah says, oh, so now the bear market got postponed until October, Chris. We'll see where we end up at. Victor's got a question here. Question, how many percent change do you think the Fed will cut next month? I think it'll be 0.25%, I think. But again, some are saying that we might get three total rate cuts later on this year. So September possibly, we have a meeting in, was it October or November, December? I can't remember. So we'll get it again in those two meetings afterwards, possibly. That'd be great. I think that'd be fantastic for risk on assets. KB Dubs question, more $80 possible next year. Gosh, Bitcoin would have to go to like 250,000. I think it might be possible at that point. Right now, they need to fix their operations as well, get their costs down, grow their hash rate as well. They would have to do a lot of things here. Chris says, next bull market, I buy 2x Bitcoin ETF. Okay. Let's see. Lucian Pops has got a question here. Mara compensation is 2x more for executive teams than Riot. I think you are missing the big picture. Mara, Riot, I mean, they're all pretty high. When you look at some of the other companies that are in the S&P 500 compared to what those executives are getting, these guys are making a killing when it comes to their compensation package. It is way too high for the companies that they run, basically, based on the market caps and things like that, if you look at it. Sadie, thank you so much as always. Likes definitely do help the channel. I appreciate that. All right. Chris Cox, 1121. Do you think CleanSpark will post positive earnings without HODL accounted for? I think it's going to be close. I think they have a chance to do that, to be honest. Based on the numbers there, it'll depend greatly on stock-based compensation and depreciation, I think. Those two things will either make it or break it at that point. Let's see. DeFi. All right. How bullish are you on CleanSpark versus other miners, excluding IREN? Well, I'm extremely bullish on them. CleanSpark and IREN make up like 95% of my portfolio right now as it is in value. When it comes to the miners, Bitfarms is I only have 8,000 shares in that one, so that one's pretty low. but yeah, those two guys I'm really bullish on compared to the other miners. I mean, I think Cipher is also pretty good there. Riot's getting better, but again, the big thing with the cost for management for me is a big no-no. Don't like it. So that's where I stand. All right, let's see here. Okay, Edward, what do you think Bitfarms return to $2? I think it's going to happen. I think it'll happen this year. Once we get Riot off their backs completely and Riot's done selling, I think that'll help. And if we get some good news from them, right, they're going in the right direction, it seems like to me. So I think they'll get back up to that and maybe go even beyond that. Okay, Edward, when Bitfarms will return to $2, can you explain their program of buyback shares? So they do have a program in place right now that they basically enlisted, was it at the end of last month, I think it was, that they can buy up to like 50 million shares, $50 million worth of shares or something like that. I think that's or 50 million shares, something like that. So it's roughly $50 million in shares. They have that until the end of July of next year. The big question for me, like I said at that time, was, do they have the cash flow from the operations right now that would allow them to buy back the shares, right? And I don't know. We'll have to wait until we see the quarterly results for that to see if that's actually the case. And even if they do, even if they have, maybe they can spend, $500,000 a month to do it, it still would only be, $6 million worth of share buybacks, but it'd be something at least, right? I don't think they can get to the full 49 million shares that they want to buy back potentially, or the optionality there to buy back 49 million shares. So it might be something, but it might be just one of those things where it's more PR than anything else, maybe, right? To maybe scare some of the shorts there. If they're going to be buying shares, but I would like to see them at least buy some shares back, right? Whether it's 5 million, 6 million shares during the year, I think that would definitely be meaningful, I think, and put the right light on them. All right. Let's see what else I miss here. Mr. X, do you believe CleanSpark's share price is being suppressed, and if yes, how is big money doing it? I think it is being suppressed, not just them. I think it's a lot of these guys are being suppressed as it is. I think the reason for that is they're hedging their bets, more or less. So they're going along on one thing like Bitcoin or maybe MicroStrategy, and they're shorting the miners. So that's kind of the way it works. Eventually, we're seeing the shorts do cover. They're covering slowly, but they are covering here from where the highs on the shorts were on these guys. CleanSpark at one point this year was the highest percentage shorted based on the number of shares, right, outstanding. That has come down. They're now like number 4, number 5, I think, last time we checked. So that has been coming down, and I think it will continue to come down as Bitcoin price goes up. Let's see. Kyle says Bitfarms $5 the moment that get a hyperscale. Definitely could see that happening if they get a hyperscale deal, depending what kind of deal it is. Yeah, they could definitely pop up there. All right. Is Wolf having an AI contract share price prediction? They already have an AI contract with Core 42, if you recall. It's for a number of years right now. It could be extended out to number like 15 years or something like that in total. So they already have one there right now. All right. LB says, went all in on Hive today. You all wish me good luck. I will definitely wish you good luck there. I think Hive is a great company. The only thing that can maybe say that's negative on them is that they don't have any operations here in the United States. I don't know if that's going to play any key role in the stock not doing as good as it might do, right? I don't know. But other than that, I think they're a great company. They're a great run. They've been around for a long time, since like 2017. They were like one of the first publicly traded companies for Bitcoin mining and Ethereum mining as well at that time. So they've been around for a long time. I can't say anything really bad about them, other than not being in the United States. Let's see. Gary, Mara all-in cost coin was 164,000. Riot 151. Stupid to buy either. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say stupid. It was just, hopefully there's always the hope that they reduce those costs, but sometimes you get what you get. Okay. I'm not able to pronounce your name, so I apologize there. I'm going to call you Mr. P. Hi, Seb. How high they can go for BitDigital and CORZ? Please advise. Thanks. BitDigital now is basically just a treasury company for Ethereum. That's all that they are pretty much. They're divesting themselves of the Bitcoin mining operations, and they're also moving their white fiber to be a separately publicly traded company. They still own 80% of it there, though. So I'm not sure how that's going to work on the figures when those figures get reported, right? How does that all work out? We'll have to wait and see. I do like the way that they have been growing the white fiber side of things. They've been buying up sites, which is nice because they've been asset light in the past. And they've been on a nice buying spree this past year, which is nice. So I like what they're doing there. I'm not a big fan of companies going into either Ethereum HODL companies or even Bitcoin HODL companies. Because I can just buy Bitcoin directly from an ETF or something like that. Why do I need a company that does it? So I'm not really a big fan of those. So I really don't know how BitDigital will do. CORZ is an interesting place too because they have CoreWeave has intentions to buy them out. They agreed to the buyout. It was valued at about $19 or $20 more or less per share at the time, based on the per share ratio, right? When it comes to CoreWeave, because it was an all share deal there, and with CoreWeave shares coming down, CoreZ has been coming down as well. There's also some rumblings that the institutions that own CoreZ may actually vote against the deal. There's also obviously a lot of people that are just retail shareholders are looking to vote against the deal as well. They don't think it's a fair deal. We'll see what happens. So big thing for CoreZ is where does CoreWeave go? And that I don't know, right? There's going to be some sell pressure coming up here. I think in September, CoreWeave can actually sell the locked up shares from the IPO. So that's going to put some pressure down there. But yeah, I don't know. Those two are tough to see where those things could go. Ed says, I was watching Anthony discussing the earnings result on Mawson and Riot. It said on his chart the cash cost to mine BTC is around 73,000. How people are saying 150,000. 73,000. Yeah, I don't. Either he's not including the share-based compensation and the depreciation in there as well, because at that point it's going to be much higher, right? Also, is it for their own sites, or does it also include the sites that they host with? Right, there's higher costs for those sites. On average, it's a higher cost as well. It's just, there's many ways it's going to cat, I guess. All right, DFly, if Bitfarms goes back to 0.8 cents and CleanSpark to 8, which one would you load the boat on if you had to pick one? If I had to pick one, oh gosh. I know CleanSpark's going to be growing, right, with their hash rate going forward. Bitcoin goes up in value. That I think that one might do pretty good. But then again, if Bitfarms gets an HPCI deal, we're off to the races. So it's kind of tough. You kind of, I don't know. That I do not know. I'm kind of low on Bitfarms, so maybe I would buy, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out in my head really quick what would be the positives in both. And which one could possibly do better. I mean, it's tied right now for me, as it is, right? The HPCI deal is the only one that could be a catalyst to pump them up even more at that point. So that's kind of the way I would look at it. So maybe a little bit more Bitfarms than I would CleanSpark, but I'd definitely buy some more CleanSpark as well at that point. Okay. S. Ramani says, Anthony specifically mentioned it's only for owned sites and that it doesn't include share-based compensation. Okay, so there you go. Right, include share-based compensation, things definitely jump up on there. And that's also, again, how you want to look at it, right? There's people that want to look in the all-in per share cost, which includes share-based compensation, depreciation. I like to personally look at the cash cost, right? I've said this many times before. Depreciation, well, those things that's mostly for tax reasons, right? Mostly. And then also, those things have been already pretty much paid for as it is already, with share dilution mostly. And then stock-based compensation, again, that's share-based, right? That's not cash-based. So I kind of like to look at just cash cost. What is the cash cost for them to operate? Because if you're a private company, you could possibly use depreciation, but you really want to just see if you're profitable on a cash cost basis. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. Leo's got a question here. Will CleanSpark perform as it should? Stock has been dead money for the past 2 years. Well, recently went up, but after being beaten so bad. Again, I think we need Bitcoin to go up in value for these guys. They've been beaten down because of the halving event. And then some of these guys are going to be down more because they're not in HPCI, while other people that are in HPCI have been appreciated more. So yeah, let's see. Bev needs Seb, isn't it scary? One terrible news and we're in recession. Recession and Bitcoin drops to 70,000. But we might be getting close to a recession, right? Based on the numbers that we're seeing here, at least. But then if the Fed lowers rates, that's good for risk-on assets as well. So I don't know if we're going to get into a full-blown recession as long as they lower the rates. Right? If Powell's stubborn and he doesn't lower the rates in September, that might be a different story at that point. Okay. Let's see. Sorry. This is one. As from he says, Bitfarms still much further from 52-week highs than CleanSpark. Yes. Yeah. But that's, you got to look at the whole picture there. Bitfarms has had issues over the past year with management, directors there as well. They promised to get into 21 exahash. They changed that on us. So there's been some things where they shot themselves in the foot. But they are correcting the ship in the right way, I think. And now they just need to actually prove that they are doing the right things. So that might take a little while. Again, but I own them. I think that they might do very well. CleanSpark, nice move before earnings. Not. Okay. Let's see, Roger. Is a blow-off top coming end of year? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get a blow-off top. I think, you're seeing the volatility actually be lower than gold is right now in Bitcoin. We talked about that yesterday. We're also seeing institutions buying it. I keep saying that on and on. Adoption is happening, basically, in Bitcoin. As more adoption happens, the volatility is going to continue to decrease, and the spikes that we're going to see from bottoms to top are going to be less drastic. They're going to be more muted, I think. Bitcoin's still going to go up, throughout the year, 50, 20%, whatever it's going to be, 75%. Excuse me. And we're going to have the drops of 20, 30%, something like that. And we're going to go back up. So I think it's going to be more muted than what we have seen in the past, where we go up huge, right? 600%, 6x, whatever it is. And then we come down 80%. I think that's not going to happen. I could be wrong on that, as always. But it's just kind of what I'm seeing here, at least right now in the last year, the way it's been playing out. And just trying to see if that's going to play out next year as well. Kind of thinking about it, but we'll see. Victor C says, I meant ETFs selling BTC. Well, that's investors too, right? It's not really just the institutions or the ETFs themselves selling. It's people that invested in the ETF. They're the ones that are selling. They're the ones panicking, just like they're selling in the markets and everything else. So that all goes with it. Sorry, I did take a sip. My throat's getting dry. All right, I think we've caught up here to all you guys' questions. All right, that's Romney. No, where is it? Leo asks, Seb, how do you manage risk when investing? How do I manage risk in investing? Try to do as much research as I can to minimize the risk, right? Knowing what I'm getting myself into. That's kind of the way I manage it. And then the other portion of it is I'm still relatively young. I still have about 20 some odd years of work. I can make up any losses that I make right now, which I'm actually in the positive right now, over 100% on both CleanSpark and IREN. So I'm doing good there. And right, so let's just say that things don't work out. Bitcoin goes down from here. I'll sell maybe at a profit of 50% to 80%, something like that. All right, that's not too bad. Let's see. Michael says, or S. Romney says, Michael Howell said liquidity looks good for rest of 2025. Oh gosh, I these. All right, sorry about that. Liquidity looks good for the rest of 2025, and the problems can happen only in first half of 2026. Okay, so that's thinking about a recession there possibly. Mr. X, do you have Hut 8? Is that a good hold? Hut 8 does not report their monthly operational updates anymore. They are also kind of divesting themselves of the Bitcoin mining side of the business. They're giving it to basically American BTC. They are still going to be 80% owner in that, I believe. And then they're trying to turn their electricity into electrons for cash. We'll need to get an update from them as far as from the quarterly results. Geez, allergies started kicking again. Let me see here. What else we got here? DeFi, BMNR, 5x thesis, sharp Ethereum gains, aggressive treasury accumulation, strong investor interest, and minimal dilution. Well, how are you going to have minimal dilution? You either need to get it from convertible notes or from ATM, right? Those are kind of your two levers that you possibly have to pull on at that point. So either dilution is going to happen now or dilution is going to happen down the road there. But yeah, 5x, they would have to basically 5x their treasury here from where they are right now in order to have that. But then again, you're going to have a lot of debt that's going to become due. Let's see. Edward asks, geez, sorry guys. Is BBI still a good price to buy? BBI is big bear AI there. Let's take a look at them, see if we can find them up here. I do have them in my AI list here. BBI, where are they at? BBI. Let's see. Hold on, I gotta sneeze again. Doggone it. I hate it when my allergies kick in. BBI right now is at 704. It got to 1036 here back in February of this year. It's come back down. Like AI plays did come down as well. It'll depend greatly. I know that they have contracts with the, I think it's department, that's Secretary Department, but the Army. No, geez. One of those governmental agencies for defense. I think they have some contracts with defense. So it's going to be dependent, I think, on can they get more contracts like that, possibly, with other public interests, things like that. I don't know. That's about as much as I can tell you right now as it is. All right, let's go back here really quick and finish this off before I sneeze my head off. Roger says, are we going to have at least a Santa rally? I do think so. I think we'll have a Santa rally. Victor says, thanks for all your research. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming in, as always. And yeah, I'm going to end it here before I sneeze my head off because, man, it's hitting hard right now. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming in, as always. Love you all. We'll discuss anything that happens tomorrow, obviously, tomorrow. All right, until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.